Hello, everyone. I'm happy to have another young Indian with us, part of the Voice of the Young series. Right now, we have with us Rishita Chakraborty. Let's listen to her. Over to you, Rishita.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mathur, for having me. I know it started with um, us talking a bit earlier, but somehow because of the shifting and everything, our new job, it's somehow been like tricky. But thank you so much for being patient and then readjusting the schedule. I'm very grateful and happy to be here to be talking to you. I will share a bit about what I've been doing recently and how I've started like while my studies in the ninth grade, because that's what people say, ninth and 10th, so important. And then it starts with 11th, 12th, so important. People just go on and say. So I remember my father actually saying when I was in the ninth grade that, just one more year, if you do very well in ICSE, that's done. Life is sorted. And then when 10th was done, then came 11th, and then he was like, oh, ISC is the final goal. That will determine where you will study, what you'll be doing in life, and everything. But now when I look back, I think obviously he wanted me to do well, and he was very um, driven for me. He's taught me a lot to dream big. But also, I feel like now when I look back, it's not just those marks or those grades that matter. It's a lot more than that. So now, I mean, when I was in classes 9 and 10, I took up science because my parents were like, you have to do science. And I come from a Bengali family, and as you would know, it's we've always been like, oh, education is so important, and which it is. I really think education and studying really shapes you, gives you a clear thought process, a clear mind, and the ability to do things differently and better. But yeah, so then my parents were like, you have to take science. And because I was a decently good student, they just automatically assumed that I would like excel in science and everything. And I took it up for classes 9 and 10, and I studied. I did as much as I could, and I scored decent marks. But then when it came, but I also realized, because while I was studying, I realized this is not something that I would want to do long term. I don't really enjoying. I do it because I have to get marks and stuff. It's not really something that I would think about outside of when I'm not studying. I would not think about a physics equation or a chemistry equation or something, some biology question. I wouldn't really ponder upon that. Rather, I loved reading, so I would really like reading Shakespeare. So those things interested me more. But then then that was the transition phase, and I was thinking, even if I because my mom teaches English, so I think that somehow came into me. But I was thinking that even if I continue with English, what's the prospect? Okay, become a professor or go into journalism, but is that something that I would want to do? But I was like, no, maybe not. This is not what I'd want to do. And then came 11th, and I told my parents, listen, I will study hard and everything, but I will not take science because I know that I won't be able to do it, and my grades will drop, because that's the ultimate thing. If we are looking at, my grades will drop and I will not be happy doing it, and if I'm not happy doing something, why do it? So that's the time I told my parents, and they ultimately agreed. And I took up humanities in class 11 and 12, and that's when I started studying economics. And that's when I understood or started getting into that subject, and I really enjoyed it, I must say. And I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is definitely way better than science. It's not English, wherein you have to go to a very, you have to have take one strict path. There are not too many options, or probably I'm not that creative also that I'd continue studying English. And then I had taken something called elective English, where it actually teaches you how college life English would look like. And I was wondering, would I want to spend the rest of my life writing long essays essay-like questions or studying the same text over and over again. I've studied, if I've read a novel, I'm done with it. Wouldn't want to continue reading it just to know the subtext and text. That's too much work, I would feel. So I didn't go with it. And then I thought economics seems viable because economics will give me money. Economics is interesting. Um, so I went ahead and I chose economics for my undergraduate studies. And I mean, the journey has not really been linear in the sense that I was still exploring as to what I would want to do. It was not a very straight path, and nobody in my family knew a lot of streams other than being a doctor or going and becoming an engineer. And I wanted to do neither of those. And that's how I sort of transitioned and went to do economics. And while I was doing economics, although I liked some bits of it, there was also a lot of mathematical stuff that would come in. And that was something that I was, a bit skeptical of going forward. But then there were these modules that came during my undergraduate time when I was, it was on IR and genocide, and those were pretty interesting to me. And that was the time, and we had like a very nice professor at Christ University, and I was so mesmerized by the way she taught, by the way she explained things, and there were such new concepts. And although I had not really been into research and stuff like that, but I remember when I was writing those essays on IR, I remember my professor told me that, you should get this published because it's so good. And I was like, oh my God, because I've never heard anyone say that to me. And then I realized research is not about uh, doing research on anything. It has to be something of your interest. If it's not something of your interest, you might not be very good at it, and the end product might not come out to be that good. So that's how I was sure that, okay, now I know where I have to go. And I was sure that I would do a master's abroad. And that's when I was starting to look at colleges, and I started to talk to some people, and I was confused between two options. One was IR, international relations, and the other was international business. And I was talking to some people, and they said that, for if you go into IR, you will need to have some experience, and then only people will give you a job. Otherwise, people won't. Because if you come with no experience, people will not value you compared to other sort of subject areas that you might want to go to. So that was a sort of reality check, because I was going abroad and I had to sort of look for jobs also at the end of the day. Though at that time, I was not really thinking about jobs, but I was thinking as to what I would study, and I was so excited for it. And that's when I chose international business, and I looked at the course structure that the University of Warwick was offering, Warwick Business School, and I studied there. And now I know that this is what I've been wanting to do. Back then in the ninth grade, I did not have any subject called international business, or I did not know about market strategy, or I did not know about business strategy. I did not know about market entry and market expansion and stuff like this. So I never knew what was meant for me to be doing. And yeah, now that I've studied, I've really enjoyed my time here, and I've learned a lot. And this is a bit about my academic journey. Um, Dr. Mathur, if you have any questions. I think you're muted.
Okay, I know about Warwick, but most people haven't heard the name, right? It's not top of the mind name. People don't know it, I think. So, how did you get to know of it? How did you choose it? And what would you say to younger people who are looking to study, say, in the UK or somewhere else?
Yeah, how did I choose it? I had just researched about it online. So there's something called US ranking, and they essentially rank universities all across the globe. And because I was confused between US and UK, I chose UK because at that time US anyway is more expensive, so I had to look at the budget. And because I had already done a 3-year degree on for my bachelor's, I wanted to do something that was quick also, and then UK was offering that. Though I understand there are downsides to it, and people might wonder, in 1 year, what do you even do? That's like too less of a time. And I realize that now also, because we did our degree and in a year it was over. But then when it gets over, it's like really quick. So I think you have to essentially, whoever's making the decision, they have to make a choice between what exactly they want and be clear on that. So the term and yeah, I was essentially looking at the QS rankings, and from my school, I knew some people that had gone to Warwick, and also my some of my teachers had suggested that the University of Warwick is very well known, and the business school especially is very well known. So I had gotten into King's College. Um, then there's a university called SOAS University London, and a couple of more universities. But I chose the University of Warwick because I essentially had heard about it more than I had heard about the other two. And I knew people that had gone there. So I think that trust and credibility also mattered to me, and that's how essentially I chose. And um yeah, and I think that that was the process. But I do think that you have to devote a substantial amount of time to it and think about what you have to do, because by the time you maybe in school or college you come a little unprepared, but by the time you're done with undergrad, I think you faced life a bit. So by that time, I would just suggest be more cautious and then make a wise decision. Try to make the decision that you can do best.
Okay. So, did Christ University prepare you fully for this degree abroad, or
I
was
think
it a
so.
tough transition?
It wasn't actually the transition for me, because I'm from Calcutta. Do you know Calcutta?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm from Calcutta and I went to study in Bangalore. So
Yeah.
if you can imagine, the culture shift there only is massive.
Yeah.
Calcutta is very different to what Bangalore life is.
Yes.
So I think I had understood that transition quite a bit initially. So the transition from India to UK didn't feel that much because I had already seen the transition. I'd already understood how to find my voice in a room full of people, which I hadn't found when I was doing my undergrad degree. I think if I put it very blankly. But in terms of profession, like academics, I think because Christ University has a very strong rigor on research, so it really prepares you very well for anything that you might do after. So any university that you might go to, you have to know certain things on how to format your paper, how to do a dissertation, how to sort of do research, how to collate sources, how to write a nice article, how to be wary of plagiarism and stuff like that, which you do not know in school, especially. So in terms of that, I think Christ University did like a very good thing. They focus really a lot on research, which is why when I was doing my masters in the UK, and there were a couple of assignments that I had to do, they were very seamless. I enjoyed research, enjoyed reading all the articles they would post, and I could spend hours just reading up on them, and it was just amazing.
Okay, wonderful. All right. So, uh, before we move on to whether you have a job or something, you know, you haven't told us anything about your personal life. You said you are Bengali, and it has a certain connotations, but there are a lot of Bengali people. Everybody's not the same. So, tell us about something that is more personal that you are willing to share.
In terms of Bengalis, I think there are a lot of stereotypes that people have on Bengalis, and now even more so. But I would say not everybody is like a great dancer. I mean, my parents did put me to a dancing class when I was small, but it's it was not something I continued because I didn't get the time to. So it's not like all Bengalis can dance very well or paint very well. That's not like that. I think that would be like a misconception. We're all, human beings at the end of the day, and we don't
Yeah,
come with any culture or
yeah,
religion.
yeah.
Uh, we are just people, and
Yeah.
I think, yeah, and just like the way we grow up depends on who we become, and the life experiences we have also
Mm,
depends on that.
mm,
So like your culture has of course a lot to do with everything, and I'm really happy being a Bengali because I think we have the best food.
mm.
But yeah, there are pretty so many like misconceptions. So yeah, one would be that okay, not everybody is like great at dancing or uh, painting and stuff like that. Yeah,
So,
that is
what
it.
are you great at?
I don't know. I'm still figuring it out. I don't know if there's anything I'm great at, but there are a couple of things I enjoy doing, like spending time with my family, spending time with my close friends, reading stuff. And also at the moment, I'm really inspired by your work also, and really I'm really liking doing this also at the moment.
Okay, very good. All right. Uh, Now it comes, okay, education's done. Okay. Now what?
Well, after education is done, I think it's quite a phase in terms of how do you navigate your life. So, if you're in India, of course, in India also, I think the employment situation is not the best. But there is something you can do if you're around family, some people. Um, Getting a job can be very tiring, but then at the end of the day, through your parents or through someone it might just click. This is just like an easy way out. But when you're abroad, that doesn't happen. I spent like considerable amount of time looking for jobs here, and I think many people know that the situation in the UK for jobs is not the most promising at the moment. So it was hard. um, and I was still like wondering what to do, which job to apply for, and it was a long and tedious process. But somehow I think you have to take time, patience, and just wait for your job to, land at your um land, and like, for you to click with the job. But how has the process been like? What was your question again?
I know the question was very open. You finished your education, now what?
Yeah, then it was just finding a job because
Mm.
rent here is so expensive, bills is expensive. You can't constantly depend on your parents because it's a big burden for them too. And so the immediate next thing, because my studies almost got over in September. So last year, July, August, I had started applying for jobs, and I think anybody who would come to the UK should do that sooner. They say that you have to, there are memes on the internet that you start applying for a job uh, as soon as you come out of your mother's womb, which is like crazy. So it's exactly like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, um, so I started applying for jobs in July, August last year, but I should have been doing that since I had come to the UK. But that somehow didn't happen because I was still, doing academics and studying, and somehow I could not manage everything fully. And that was a bit of a delay on my part. And it took me a good 5 6 months to get an internship. So I interned at a startup, but that was funded, or that was part of the operating division of the University of Birmingham. So essentially, if I tell you very simply, Um, I was working as a consultant at the University of Birmingham, but that was an internship, but the work was great. I was actually working with a professor, and she is a professor of public policy, and she's developed this new methodology called the perception clarity methodology. And yeah, that I was working there as a strategy analyst, and that was like an internship. And now that I've gotten a job in London, I've shifted here. And I still, because I liked that internship so much, and we had like a really good team. And it was really nice working with each of them, and and my professor also. And she was very supportive. She's the first person who saw some potential in me and offered me a position, which I'd always be grateful for. And she has said that she would also sort of extend my contract. And yeah, so now because I was shifting and stuff, I've taken a temporary pause at that, but then I should resume work with them also in a month or so.
But you are already got another job, so how can you do both things?
Because this job I'm working 3 days for now, so I will still have 2 more days for,
I see. Okay.
yeah, the
All right.
company.
Fine.
Yes.
And is all this okay with the authorities' employment of this
Yes,
type? It's okay?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I think
Okay.
that's the flexibility that people abroad have. Like in India, it's hard for you to have two, three jobs at one time. I mean, nobody would, I think, give you that. And even if you do, I think it gets difficult. But here, I think that flexibility is there,
Hmm.
unless you have like a contract that says that you can't work anywhere else. Which is pretty flexible, because at this stage in my life, because I'm just starting off work, I want to work in as many industries I can. I want to get exposure as much as I can. I want to talk to industry professionals, and because there's so much amazing work out there, and there are so many startups that do such amazing work that still haven't gotten the recognition, which is very, like, innovative and nice to see. So it would be
Okay.
nice to
All
collaborate.
right. Now, tell me, what does a degree in international business prepare you for? I mean, do they have an objective, or what was your objective?
My objective, firstly, when I was choosing the degree, was to study. So when I was looking at the modules, they were very interesting to me. So you have to see firstly if it resonates with you, if it's something that you would want to do. So when I say international business, it really resonates to um, all the businesses, all the corporations that are working, and say in terms of operations of the company, in terms of finance, in terms of HR, in terms of marketing, in terms of innovation.
Mhm.
So all these five areas is something that international business looks at, which is very, very interesting.
Mm.
So essentially, we are looking at business strategy, we are looking at marketing of the firm, we are looking at accounting, we are looking at we're also looking at innovation, and we're also looking at sustainability and ethics of these firms, which is so important in this day and age, right? Right, if, see, there are so many companies out there, maybe massive giants in the industry, but they are not um being very ethical in the practices that they do. um so many instances of fashion related companies that fall prey to greenwashing, because they
Mm.
are not sort of following those practices, but on paper they are showing, okay, they are great.
Yeah.
Which is like a very big concern, because, like, as we know, the environment gets hampered, people get hampered, lives get hampered. These forest fires that have been happening, all of these things have been somewhere or the other linked with the environment. So taking care of this is so important. And I think when you're at a position of power, even if you're not at a position of power, everyone has a responsibility. But if you have that position, you must use it more responsibly. So if you have such a big company that you're running, you have to be so cautious and responsible for the ethical practices, the stuff that you do for your community. All of this is so important, which is so much beyond just profits or gains. So this is what international business, I think, teaches.
Mm-hmm.
um, and it might also, some people say it's a very broad degree, in the
Mm.
sense that it's focusing on too many things but not one thing entirely. But I would say that really depends on what you want to do, because um, now I might want to learn about so many things, and then slowly and gradually I might choose a discipline that I would want to narrow my path to. So initially I would not want my path to be narrowed. So yeah, that's how, I mean, I I chose the degree, and that's what it's taught me in the entire ecosystem of businesses. But then studying is different, and then when you're working it's slightly different, because um it really puts you in the real world, where you have to talk to stakeholders, and you have to see how businesses will work, which is okay, just mentioned in a line on the textbook. But when you do it in real life, you have to be like very strategic in your in your work.
Okay, so hang on, I'm on mute.
No, you're not. Now you're on mute.
Okay, since you mentioned, uh, the way you want to work and so on, what do you think is the future for you?
Right. So, now, because of the stage of life I am in, I would want to gain some financial independence right now. I would want to work a couple of more years in industries, in startups, in companies, um, and gain as much knowledge as I can from this. But because I lean a bit towards academics, so to say, I would want to pursue either another master's or an MBA after a few years. But I'd want to do that a bit with my money, because my parents have invested a lot already, and they've been really kind. But yeah, I think I would want to save that for myself, and definitely do another degree. PhD seems to be a good option, but I was talking to my first internship professor the other day, and she was telling me, actually, you know what, if you decide to get married, if you decide to have kids, PhD will take a lot from you. So do you want to do that? Well, that's something that I have to contemplate about. Uh, but yeah, I mean, maybe not PhD, but definitely an MBA, another degree where I'd want to study, because I really enjoyed my time at Warwick. The campus is so beautiful that if you just sit by the window, read, there's so many, things happening around on campus. It's a big, huge campus, and it's amazing. So I loved it. So I definitely want to do another master's or an MBA. Okay, one for the environment, because it gives you that peace, and second, definitely because I want to continue learning, and um, yeah, I want to know as much as I can.
Okay, wonderful. That's a very clear answer. You are still examining the issue. It's not decided. You are still living right now. You're just happy you got this job.
Yeah,
Is
that's
it
true.
is it good to move to London from Warwick?
Oh, it's amazing. I was living in Birmingham for a while because my internship was there, and I was looking for jobs there also.
Yeah.
But it's been my dream to move to London, and it has finally happened.
Okay.
It's London is beautiful, and there's so many things to do, so many new food
Hmm.
to try.
Hmm.
And I'm very excited for it. I'm gonna go with my. I'm so excited to try new places with my friends, and yeah, I've just always wanted to be here since I
Okay.
came here.
All right.
So
Birmingham is not quite an enjoyable
yeah,
city at all, no?
yes, yes, 100%. I'm so glad you said this, because I mean, while my time at Birmingham, I didn't have the most amazing time. Also because I was looking for jobs and stuff, but also because it's a very it's not the most safe city. London also has its bits where, okay, it might not be that safe, but Birmingham, again, I think it's not a very safe place to be at. There's not much happening there compared to London. I mean, my office is near Covent Garden, and that area is buzzing with people who are working and coming back from work. And it's amazing because every time I go, I know everyone on the bus is going for work. While I'm
Yeah.
coming back, everyone, most people on the bus are coming back from work and they're talking work. It's so inspiring because it you don't necessarily or usually see that scene in India. I think even if, say for example, a Bangalore has these tech hubs, when people are coming, people probably might be, just talking and stuff. It's not very apparent there, but here you actually feel the energy and the vibe of the place, and it just pushes you to do so much better in life, for yourself, for your family, for your yeah. So
Okay. So obviously, how long have you been here?
just a week, like I was saying, and
Okay.
yeah, it's just been a few
Okay.
days.
All right, fine. Okay. I think we are coming to sort of an end. Do you have something else you want to add here?
Nothing. At the moment, this is what I wanted to share, and I just hope that I can continue to do some good work,
Yeah.
and yeah, and give back to my family as
Okay.
much as they've given me.
Okay. Wonderful. So thank you, Rishita. Let's end it here today. I will be back with another young person or expert soon. Till then, bye, everybody. Don't go away. I will talk to you offline.